KT McFarland with me now. All right, KT, if that happened, if the Russians attacked NATO territory, how do you think America should respond?
Well, you know, we're a member of the NATO alliance, and if Russia starts attacking our alliance members, our NATO members, you know, we have no choice but to defend NATO. Now, what I'm worried about in all of this is as Putin gets increasingly desperate, Marco Rubio is absolutely right, Putin is really desperate now. But he can get more desperate. Why? Because he knows he cannot stay in power. He probably can't even stay alive if he has to come back in defeat in Ukraine. And so what are the ways he could escalate? Well, he could escalate by cutting the fiber optic underwater cables, for example, just like they sabotaged the pipelines. He could use tactical nuclear weapons. He's got a Chechen advisor general who's telling him, use tactical nuclear weapons. And then there are the sites in the NATO countries which are resupplying Ukraine. So I'm concerned that if we're not thinking this through right, we could slide ourselves into a war that nobody wants, except maybe Vladimir Putin, a war between NATO and Russia.
But at the same time, conservatives in the United States seem to be split on helping Ukraine. I had a congressman on the show last week who was adamantly opposed about spending $16 billion extra for weapons to Ukraine. If you've got a split amongst conservatives, not sure how strong a response President Biden can actually put in place.
Well, you know, when you're in a situation, especially in life or in foreign policy, where you don't have any good options, get new options. And what would the new options here be? Well, how about taking Vladimir Putin's ability to make war away from him? How would you do that? Stop the American war on fossil fuels. Let America produce oil and natural gas. Have that oil and natural gas be the main suppliers to Europe. Drive the price of oil and natural gas down. Bankrupt Russia. He then cannot conduct war. He won't have the resources. He can't borrow on the international market, and he can't pay for weapons. He's not going to be able to pay for his 300,000 troops he's just mobilized. Bankrupt Russia. You know, I was a part of the Reagan administration, and the way we won the Cold War without firing a shot was bankrupting Russia. We should be concentrating on doing that again and doing it quickly.
So should we not give Ukraine the weapons it needs to absolutely win?
No, I think you do two things at once. You give Ukraine what it needs, understanding unconditional surrender by Vladimir Putin isn't going to happen, but give Ukraine what it needs to continue to fight, and then push the Ukrainians, as well as the Russians, towards a negotiating solution. Why? Time is on Ukraine's hands. If the fighting stops and Ukraine gets enough to survive, Russia gets enough to survive, what happens in 5 years? All those people are going to come on your show, Stuart, and talk about how they're investing in rebuilding Ukraine. The world will rush to Ukraine. Nobody is going to invest in Russia. So 5 years hence, after a ceasefire, Ukraine is fully integrated into the Western world and the Western economy, and Russia is sitting out there all by itself with low oil and natural gas prices and broke.
And 5 years from now, Putin might not be around. Well, I've just thrown that out there. KT McFarland, thanks for being with us. See you again soon. You got it.